Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Book Buzz. And one moment. Okay. Tonight we have on author Mea Monique, and we are talking about her book, The Grim Reaper's Lawyer. And I remember seeing, I don't even remember how I ended up seeing it, but I think I saw it come down as a suggestion, maybe on Amazon. And it intrigued me. The title intrigued me. And I was like, oh, okay, that's different. So I read the synopsis and it intrigued me even more. I'm always looking for something a little different to read since I read so much. And I thought this was a very creative take on this. So just by the synopsis that I read. So I knew I wanted to reach out to the author to talk to her about this book. Once I started reading it, I knew it was going to be able to get into it. And so I'm happy to have her here tonight to talk to her. And we also have Jennifer Copeland on with us, who is going to be my guest co-host tonight. And one moment, we go back on here. I'm still getting things together because I had a busy day today, and I'm just now getting home later than I anticipated. So bear with me. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and bring Jennifer and Mea Monique on, and so you can get a chance to meet this author. All right, ladies. Welcome, and thank you both for being here tonight. Thank you, Jennifer, for helping me out tonight. I appreciate it. And hello, Ola. She's saying hello from the audience. We'll get right into it. First, though, for people who are new to you, Mea Monique, can you let them know a little bit about yourself? What is this your debut novel, and is this what type of genre that you write in, so they can get an idea who you are?
Yeah, no problem. So this is my debut novel. I've been a writer for a long while, but I haven't ever published anything. I just kind of wrote short stories and things to keep to myself. But I kind of got this idea from being in law school. I remember, I think it was last year spring that I got the idea to come up with this book. And it originated with me thinking about a lawyer and a Grim Reaper. And then from there, I thought about the setting. And then from there, I thought about the plot afterwards. But it's been like a developing process throughout the whole year that took me to write it. But my main genres of writing is fantasy. That's what I kind of want to focus on. But I'm trying my hand out in contemporary with writing a novella, which I'm publishing this summer. So I'm super excited about that because it's something I love reading contemporary, but I never thought I would actually write it. So it's been like a learning curve for myself to like write a novella. But other than that, it's just me and books, and no longer law school because I graduated. But that's really what the idea came from. For me being in law school and meeting people and experiencing it and wanting to put my take on the law and the afterlife, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that concept. I'm hearing a little. I'm hearing like an echo. Are you both hearing it?
No, I don't hear the echo.
I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, so I was going to ask you that if the concept came from your life as being a lawyer. So how long have you been practicing law?
No, so I graduated this semester, but I've
Okay,
done a bunch of.
congratulations.
Thank you, thank you so much. It was this past weekend actually. I've done a bunch of internships in so many different fields. Like I've worked for like the legal department for Verizon. I've worked for Department of Children and Families. I've worked for an immigration law. I worked everywhere, and then later this year I'm starting in criminal law. But
Okay.
yeah, so that's where law school is where I got the idea from. I don't think I would have came up with the idea otherwise. I never thought about this.
And is criminal law, is that what your goal was, to get to criminal law?
When I first started law school, I said criminal law, and then I took criminal law class, and I was like, hell no. And then I kind of switched to immigration law, but then some way somehow I found myself back in criminal law. So I think I'll work in that for a while. I kind of want to jump between criminal and immigration law. Just like my two favorite topics.
And immigration law right now definitely would keep you busy with everything that's going on right now.
Yeah, with everything that's going, and I live in Florida.
Oh my goodness.
And I live in Florida, so it's so interesting to see what's going on, because I was working exactly with these type of stuff, like these laws that's happening last year, trying to stop them. But just being a real person.
So how are you finding balance? How were you able to balance your busy day life as a lawyer and then writing at the same time?
I don't know. I feel like I blacked out writing this book because I don't know how I wrote it, how I finished it. Because I started writing the book last year, April. But I didn't get super far because I was still trying to develop ideas and get it. I literally was trying to figure out what to name my characters. So it took a while. And during the summer, I tried to write a little bit more, but a lot of my writing happened starting August. So from August to I think I wrote this book, completed it in like 2 months last year. And I don't know how I managed to balance it. Honestly, I really don't. I don't think I slept much.
So you took 2 months entirely to write it?
I think 2 months to actually like sit down, focus writing it. Like beforehand, I was just writing and BSing every once in a while, but like actually sitting down and writing a book and like being intentional in my writing, 2 months.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a chaotic 2 months because I realized my writing style within that 2 months. I don't write in order. I write scenes randomly and then I stitch them together. Like I wrote the ending before I wrote the like middle part. Like I wrote the ending and then I wrote the beginning, then I wrote the middle. So it's just chaos.
That is interesting. I've heard another author that is one of my favorites, Diana Gabaldon, with the Outlander series. I think she writes like that, out of order.
Yeah.
So it seemed like that would make it more difficult, but I guess it just depends on how your mind works.
Yeah. Mine, I have ADHD, so mine works chaotic.
So it worked well for you then.
Yeah, I wrote a lot of my book on my phone too, because I'll be laying my head to go to sleep and then I come up with an idea, so I'll open my notes app and like write out like a whole like chapters in my book.
Do you have any like writing quirks that you do, like when you write, as far that you found that you did, like some people have like a favorite figurine or something that they may have, or anything quirky that you do?
I don't think so. I think I write chaotic and then I try to stitch it together. I don't think I have a quirk that I have to do to write. I think my quirk would be the fact that I have my notes app. I think my quirk is my notes app, because if you go on my notes app and you look through it, it's just random scenes and phrases and quotes that I think of that I have to put in the book. I'm like, this would be perfect for their banter. I don't know where I'm going to fit it in, but I'll figure out a place to put it. So I think that's like my notes app is just full of my books. And like, that's where I mostly write my books and come up with my ideas.
Yeah, that doesn't, do you also, because only the reason because I know it's important to back stuff up. So do you also make sure you have it on your
No.
No.
If it deletes, I gotta deal with it.
Yeah, that would freak me out.
I do not back things up. I when I was in law school and I would take notes and like write essays, my friend always would tell me, save as you write, because me and my laptop stays almost dead. So I was always living on edge all the time.
And I was going to ask you too, when we were talking about I was going to the topic. It's not. I'm not going to say it's not a heavy read, but just the atmosphere as far as the afterlife and the Grim Reapers and all of that, and the situations that they find themselves in, just as part of the day-to-day job. A couple of the scenarios or the situations were a little, overwhelming and sad and heartfelt. And I like the fact that you were able to balance it with humor in the book, and it didn't feel like forced humor, because I don't always like humor in books because sometimes it feels a little forced, like you're going for the laugh. But but in this one, it felt very natural. And was that intentional for you to do that?
I didn't write this book with the intention of it to be very funny. I kind of just wrote. I think as I wrote because we see it from Joyce's point of view, so as we like read Joyce's point of view, a lot of my family, me, my best friend, and then other lawyers humorous in that. So it wasn't. I don't think it felt forced, because I think it didn't feel forced because it wasn't my intention for it to be always so funny. But like certain things that I think is normal, it's just funny. But that's just like how my friends and family are and our humor, so it just comes off natural because that's just what I'm used to.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you, if you like humor, or if you were a funny person. Because Joyce, what was she based on anyone in particular, or is that just how did you come up with her character?
She's a mixture of people, because I write I do like my character outline, and I figure out their personality type, their signs, what they like, what they don't like. So like as I was outlining her, I kind of based her personality off a bunch of people. So she's mostly kind of based off of decisions my best friend would make, because my best friend is a very funny person. And also I have like professors, like this one professor that I have, who I went to court with and everything like that. She's very funny and quirky and very similar to Joyce in how she handles the law and legal matters and being in court. I found myself, because I worked under my professor as a guardian at Lynham, so when we went to court, and there's plenty of times during cases where she would just say or do certain things and it's funny, and she would make eye contact with me and I'm trying not to laugh in court. So a lot of that came from real life experiences and like meeting lawyers who were just like Joyce, and then adding in certain traits and stuff from my best friend, and then certain things from me.
Let me go back to what I thought was interesting was how the Grim Reapers, they said it a line in the book. Let me see. Basically, they still felt all the human emotions, and still felt basically just the same as they did when they were human, because they want to keep them connected to humans based on their contact and the type of job that they have. So I thought that was interesting too, and it made, because it almost felt like it was still the living world with everything that they were going through.
Yeah.
How did you come up with that?
I think there's two different types of stories when you're dealing with like afterlife creatures that you can do, because a lot of times they're looked as ominous and unfeeling, especially when you think about the Grim Reaper. You don't think about someone who has a bunch of feelings and care, because they're always collecting. When you read stories about the Grim Reaper, it's always about death and souls and all that. So I thought, okay, we have a system of Grim Reapers, but I want them to stay close to humanity. I would have to make sure they have feelings and understand humans. So I think that also goes into the romance portion, because it would be a much different story, or relationship if Grim Reapers didn't feel emotions or understand empathy and sympathy and still have that connection to humans. Because then, you know, the romance would have been different and much, I think it would have took a different twist than what I intended to. So I had to give them emotions in order for, you know, Joyce and Aiden to have that connection, and really Joyce to make connections with anyone, but then also keep that, I guess, modern twist that I have on the afterlife with it being business-like.
Mm. And that's what I was thinking as I was reading, is that because I've read other things and I've seen like on TV, because I read a lot of and watch a lot of like sci-fi and fantasy. And usually Grim Reapers are portrayed as, you know, these dark figures and very stoic, and some may not speak. And so I thought it was an interesting take when you made it where they still could feel emotion. And now when Aiden, the male character, first was presented, he did in a way feel to me like the stereotypical Grim Reaper. Just because of the way he came off as not very emotional. He was very like Joyce said, stick up the butt.
I think what she said, something like he has a stick so far up his butt. He's surprised he couldn't taste wood or something like that.
Right. And I have to tell you, let me see if I can pull up you have the book by you where you can show them the cover?
I do, but it's my it's the not for resale, because hysterically I don't have a final copy of my own book.
That's fine. Again, we're is on the screen as well. The Grim Reaper's Lawyer by Mea Monique, and I highly recommend that you check it out. It's a different take on the afterlife and romance in the afterlife, and so creative. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed, like I said, the heroine Joyce's character, because she was a mixture of intelligent, and like I said, she had a great personality because she was so humorous. Jennifer, what did you think? What was your take on it, on Joyce?
like I said, I got into it, and I'm like, the first part, I was like, oh my goodness. I said, what's gonna happen when she's, you know, and I ain't gonna give it away. She's in the courtroom or whatever at the beginning, and I was like, oh goodness, what's gonna happen? And then that happened, and I was like, okay. So then I said, I'm 18% in, because I said I challenged myself this year that I would read different things from what I would read.
Right.
So I had told Cheryl, I said, Cheryl, I'm 18% in. I said, oh no.
I said, stick with it.
She said, stick with it. I said, okay, I'm gonna stick with it. And I'm glad I stuck with it, but you had me at the ending, and I'm not gonna give it away, but I'm gonna ask you why you did us like that at the ending.
Like the very end?
The very end of the book. I was like,
the second
why
book is
she
gonna
did
be
us like that?
The second book's gonna be so much more fun, and so much more fun, and it has, like, you know, more twists and turns. But like in the first book, I think what I tried to do in the first book, because I thought every single portion of this book out, especially plot wise and everything, but seeing the world from Joyce's point of view, we get to see how she thinks like a lawyer and thinks, and we get to see how she catches certain things. So like I made it to where we're seeing her point of view and catching things as she catches things and all that. But in the second book, we're gonna have multiple point of views, right? So we're gonna have Joyce and Aiden, and then we'll have like a guest point of view for like a chapter. But that mixture, you get to see you kind of get to see kind of how much of a false narrator Joyce can be in a way. by seeing stuff from Aiden's point of view, but I ended the book like that in the first book because the second book is just gonna be crazy. And I think if you like, I have the synopsis up for the second book, and I think like the first couple of chapters are gonna have people on the edge because I made sure to like not give away anything that's gonna happen. Even like my friend who I told the whole book to, she was shocked by what was going on and what's happening in the second book.
And when is the second book scheduled to come out? Do you know yet?
That's a great question. I haven't really talked about it, but it's definitely coming out this year. I wanted to come out during the summer, but I've had like a little bit of a writer's block on certain things, and I truly believe in producing like, you know, my best quality. Right. So my tentative release is November, because I'm going to be working on it like whole summer. Once I'm working on it simultaneously as I work on my novella. My novella is almost done, but I think it's a longer wait because I'm getting more ideas as the time go by, and I'm adding in the book and rearranging stuff. So it's making the book even better than what I originally had planned.
Okay, good. I can't wait to read it. Because like I said, I love this type of stuff, just the paranormal, the natural, and just like I said, I like the take that you had on the afterlife. One of my favorite things is their ability to, and I don't think this is giving anything major away, their ability to teleport to different places in where in the world where they can just go, like if they have a taste for coffee or for lunch, they can teleport, just hop over to Paris or to New York. I love that.
Yeah, I love that too. And because I had to write down, you know, as I was writing the book, I wrote down a list of abilities that Grim Reapers have. Because I wanted to make sure, you know, they all make sense. And I'm like, teleportation has to be something they have, right? Because they're collecting souls worldwide. Right. But I enjoy. I think it adds an extra element to the story because we get to see them outside of Eden.
Yes, and it like, because you're right, it opens up the world and it gives it humanizes them, basically. And I like too that when we find out why Joyce made the decision to leave her being a prosecutor. And then find out that Aiden had all type of assumptions that he made about her. Yeah, that was a good scene.
Yeah, I like that, and it took me a while to kind of, I guess, not come up with it, but be able to like write it out, I guess, because like when it came to Aiden, I feel like he's complex in a way that I don't even think readers fully understand, and they'll understand in the second book because we get his point of view. Okay. So we'll get to see a lot more of him. And I think the second book is even special because I think some readers are all like, oh, I wish I got to saw his point of view of how he, you know, kind of fell in love with Joyce and his thoughts and all that. And it's not really a spoiler, but like, it's like you get to see that in the second book, but it's not redundant. So I'll leave it at that. But that scene itself, it's because when I wrote Joyce's kind of trauma, it wasn't something that, you know, could never happen. It's something that happens to like prosecutors and defense attorneys every day because it's a hard job. Like being a prosecutor is a hard job because on both sides, right? Because people see prosecutors as someone who, oh, they just lock people away. Well, prosecutors have the job of locking away people who have committed a crime against someone else, right? And, you know, there's cases where they're prosecuting someone who is not guilty. And the same thing with defense attorneys where you're defending someone who's innocent, but sometimes you're defending someone who's actually guilty. So like both sides have their own traumas and they have to take on the burden of other people. So like from Joyce's point of view, she had to take on a huge burden as a prosecutor and she didn't have a support system. And I put that in there because, you know, Black women in the legal field, I think we're like less than 5%. And, you know, we're trying to have that support system for each other and in the field. But when you don't have mentors or you grow up in this, you know, without, family figures who were lawyers like myself. I'm the first lawyer in my family. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. And you don't know how to properly take care of self-care, which I think is what happened to Joyce. And Aiden has his own trauma that we find out.
Right.
And we get to see from his point of view kind of like why he was so cold shoulder towards Joyce. And his is all based off of him kind of putting his trauma onto her in a way, which happens a lot, and making a lot of assumptions about someone he doesn't know.
Right, but her zingers, man, she was getting with him when he was giving her a hard time. She had those one-liners that were hilarious. It was hilarious. It had me just cracking up. But you also in the book, I think it's 3 characters that grew up in the foster care system. Was that intentional for you to bring in basically make some of the main characters a product of the foster care system?
Yeah, I did it on purpose for the fact that, working in Department of Children and Families kind of gave me a point of view, and I dealt with children a lot. So, seeing children and the lack of support system they have and the things they have to go through and how it affects them long term, because growing out without parents or family affects Joyce and Aiden every day. And differently because Joyce never had parents to begin with, whereas Aiden did, and then he was taken, they were taken away from him. So I did it on purpose to kind of bring attention to the foster care system too, and some of the traumas that it can put on you and etc.
Yeah, and I think you accomplished that based on what you just said, and that they both had different experiences in the foster care system, and just because they had different experiences, like you said, because Aiden did start out, with his parents and remembering his parents. Before we get too further along, if you wanted to read the excerpt that you have for the book.
I didn't pick one exactly. I thought you were gonna just throw one at me, but let's see. I think my favorite part of the book, and I know once I read the chapter titles, I just kind of remember what the chapter is about.
Oh, okay, good, yeah.
So it was I'm just kind of flipping through to see which. I think I know my.
Jennifer, what was one of your favorite chapters that you think would be good for you? Do you remember?
When I guess one of them was when Aiden finally gave in to Joyce.
Oh no, that would be you. That I think that would have you talk about.
I'll be clutching my pearls. I can't read that one.
Right.
I'm clutching my pearls.
Well, you can read.
They will be putting us in Facebook jail for that. With that,
you can read before that. But look, you can read the build up to that.
That's so fun. There's not too much build up. We just kind of go into it. Oh goodness. I have literally, when it comes to because I have to
any of them will work.
I had to reread my book over to write the second book. Huh?
What about the scene between when Joyce and her new best friend, I can't pronounce her name.
Yara.
Yeah.
I love that one. Okay. I'll read the ending of that one.
The beginning, the ending, or
I'm looking
whichever one you want to do.
You're right. All of it, both of them, whenever they were together, was a good thing. You're right.
Yes, they was hilarious. They had me laughing, and that's why I said I'm glad I'm stuck with the book.
Right.
Yeah, I love their relationship. So let's see. Oh, it's getting dark. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I pause my tummy rub and lean closer to her. I gesture for her to get closer. She leans in with wide eyes, curious to what information I'm about to reveal. I cup my hands around my mouth and whisper, "Can I be placed in heaven with Tupac? I would love to just sit and have a conversation with him. I grew up on his music. Also, have you seen his smile?" She stares at me for a moment, then bursts into laughter. covering her mouth with her hand. I stared at her. Excuse me, that was a serious question. Heaven can't just be me alone. That would get old fast. I'm trying to throw a party. I lean back and cross my arms. I'm being serious, Yira. She wipes out a tear that fell from her eye and sits back in her chair while trying to catch her breath. She grins. Sorry, darling. Tupac would not want to be with you. I gasp. What? Why? I'm amazing. She shrugs. He prefers his alone time, and I have a strong feeling you would not know how to remain quiet. I narrow my eyes on her. Then I deflate in my chair. She's right. I would not know how to shut up. Can you blame me? It's Tupac. What about Prince? She shakes her head. No. Bob Marley? No. Paul Walker? I was in shambles when he died. She sighs. No. Elvis Presley? No. Wait, why Elvis? I chuckle. I have some questions for how he died. I mean, I can't confirm nor deny whether he is even in heaven. Yira admits. It's confidential. I lean forward with wide eyes. That answer within itself is an admission. Yira feverishly shakes her head. No, it is not. I nod with excitement at my newfound knowledge. It totally is. She points a finger at me. You better not tell anyone about this. I gesture at my heart and make an imaginary X over it. I cross my heart and hope to die. You realize that doesn't mean much, right, considering you're dead? Then I swear on my father's life. You don't know your father, she states as a matter of fact. Dumbfounded by her knowledge of my life, I squint my eyes and point an accusing finger at her. How do you know that? Joyce, I work at the Soul Director department. I know almost everything about you. That definitely slipped my mind. I snap my fingers and nod in agreement. You're absolutely right. Yira frowns. Aiden is doomed. But yeah, so I love that one because you get to see kind of their interaction. And I love when you go to the second chapter and Yira just told her, don't tell anyone. And immediately when Aiden walks in, he's all like, she's like, did you know Elvis was in hell?
But you know, her talking about she wanted to be placed with Tupac was hilarious, and she said it a few times, and she was serious.
She is very serious. And then in the second book, she's still dumbfounded at the fact that she hasn't seen him yet.
Yeah, because she wanted to be with Tupac bad.
Yeah, she.
I
was
like, okay.
Yeah, she's
like, I want him.
I guess we can have us a little romance in the afterlife.
Yeah, so I think her obsession with Tupac is funny. Even in the second book, she still thinks about it, but then she starts to believe that he's not even in heaven. She's all like, "Is he alive in Cuba with Michael Jackson or something? Like, what's going on? Why haven't I seen him?"
Oh my goodness. Yeah, she is funny, and I was going to ask you too. What made you write a multicultural story and to make the hero Asian?
I think I don't really have a specific reason why. I think what my goal as an author is to write, different stories with different characters. So like, for example, this one was Asian and Black. My novella coming out is Black Woman, Black Man. And then I don't know. I have my next series that I don't want to talk about because my readers always jump on me and will be like, when is that coming out? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't even dealt with that one. But I kind of just want to I wanted to try something different because when I pick up a lot of books, I don't see a lot of Asian. Like I read, Hispanic male characters. I read white. I read Black. And you see mostly when it comes into racial, you see a lot of white. And I was just tired of seeing a white man. So I was all like, let me try something different.
Yeah.
So I just decided randomly, let me just do an Asian man.
And I like that you did because I think I told you behind the scenes that when I think about like my book base, I don't automatically go to have an Asian male picture in my mind, but so it was good to see Aiden as this dominant person. Basically, yeah, I was so surprised when that dominance came out in the bedroom. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I was too. I was like, ooh, I said, let me continue reading some more.
I was like, go ahead, Aiden. All right. But I think, I enjoyed it, and it gives you a different perspective. Although I have read other books with Asian as the lead, a really good one that I still is one of my tops is I believe the name is The Good Doctor by Blue Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
He was the main character in that one. Is the love interest was Asian in that one as well.
Yeah.
But you're right. For the most part, it's usually just black women, white male in IR books.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, who were your character inspirations for your characters for Aiden and Joyce? Did you have someone that you modeled them after as far as when you were writing?
I don't think I did. I kind of just came up with, like, I kind of told you a little bit about Joyce. And then with Aiden, I just kind of put different qualities in a man that would be good. And I was like, this is cool. And I also, I developed Joyce's character first.
Mm-hmm.
So then when it came to developing Aiden, I developed his based off of Joyce because I wanted them to kind of balance each other out. Because Joyce is this very hyperactive. She kind of reacts with her emotions at certain times or whatever. And I'm like, I feel like you need someone to balance that out. And she needed someone to be more responsible and like consider things before acting and like take a more logical step. So like, as I was thinking about what Joyce needs, that helped me develop Aiden's personality.
Because I think I told you is A Will in Time is I thought the male character in that who's Asian was very good looking, and I found a picture of him in black since Aiden always wore black and white, was it?
Yeah, like full black suits usually.
Yeah, so I don't know. Can you all see that?
I can see it. Oh, I know what actor you're talking about. I was wondering.
Yeah, and to me, he's gorgeous. To me, of course, it's messing up. But he's from if you want to know, I can't think of his name right now, but he's in A Will in Time on Prime. Very good fantasy show if you like fantasy. And so that's who I was picturing as I was reading.
I might give A Will in Time a little look at because
You should. I'm telling you, it's good and he's very good to look at. I'm telling you, but it's a good show as well, so you enjoy it. And but that's who I had in mind. Jennifer, did you have any particular person in mind when you were reading it? You on mute.
I was just reading it and I was like, I was imagining it, and all I could think of was probably the same man that you just mentioned. Because I really don't look at a lot of, TV. And then, when I think of it, thought of it too, I thought of it, one of the guys that used to be on Hawaii 5-0 before they got canceled.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, are you talking about the newer Hawaii 5-0?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I love that show so much.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yeah. So I can't wait for the second book, and I look forward to getting more in this world.
Yeah.
And I look forward to it being in Aiden's voice too. That'll be exciting.
I know, you literally, when you open the first chapter, it's just him. And I think I can't wait for initial knee-jerk reactions to the first chapter itself. Because I like to always write I try to write like a strong hook. And I think this one really sets the tone for the book with this one, because book 2 is a lot of craziness, and we get to learn. I think people were wondering, like, did we get to learn the history behind Eden? We get to learn that, and I think it'll be fun to kind of see how it came about and be shocked by how it came about. Right.
Well, again, I look forward to it. I really enjoyed the book, and for this to be your debut, it was very, very well done.
Thank you.
And I read a lot, so me and Jennifer, and
it was well done.
Yes,
take it for somebody that don't usually read that, but I will definitely read yours. So I'm anticipating the next one.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to get the next one out. take a little bit more time, but I gotta write it, send it out to beta readers, rewrite, because I rewrote so many different scenes in that first book, like how it ended, different things where I rewrote the whole chapters until it was how I liked it. So, and with the second book, because this is just a duology, so with the second book wrapping up the story, I really wanted to wrap it up well.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, I look forward to it. This time has gone so fast. I have for you all in the audience, and if you weren't able to be here during the live, you can definitely watch the replay. And I have Mea Monique's social media and website information scrolling across the screen, and I also have it in the description, so you can always come back if you're watching the replay and get the information there, so you can keep in touch with her, and you can find out, know when the next book is scheduled to come out. But again, I do recommend this book, and please go out and get it. I think you will enjoy it. You have two avid readers right here telling you it's a very good book. So, but again, thank you for being on my show. I'll hope to get you back when the next book comes out.
Definitely. I would love to come back and see your reaction, see if you get to the 18% mark again, and be like, what the heck is going on?
Say when Jennifer gets to the 18%.
Yeah. I'm reaching out when I get to 18%.
I think you're going to reach out after 2%, you're gonna, like 3 or 5%, you're going to be like, what the heck?
Well, now that she knows who you are, she can reach out to you directly and say, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, a lot of readers will DM me or email me to talk about the book, or as they're reading it, send a reaction. So I always try to sit down and reply to all those DMs. So it's pretty fun to see people's reaction to the book and etc.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us tonight who joined us. And again, if you weren't able to join us, watch the replay and definitely go out and get the book. And we'll see you next week with another author. Thank you for joining the Book Buzz Show.